state defense, Mr. Hall present. I do want to thank council for their patience this afternoon. I do have a copy of Mr. Hall's PSI, Mr. Eller. Other than what you stated earlier, any other objection or exception to it?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'll have the file under seal with the clerk's office, and we'll do so during today's proceedings. I do want to thank everyone for being here today. It was difficult to get everyone scheduled accordingly, but I do appreciate counsel for all the defendants for being here today on Friday afternoon to get this scheduled. I want to thank all the witnesses who testified today on behalf of the state, the victim's family, and for each and every one of the defendants. I really don't have much to say. I presided over the trial with Mr. Hall. I'm eminently familiar with the facts of the case. I certainly want to echo what Ms. Adams-Jones said about Mr. Byrd. I recall Mr. Byrd's trial testimony vividly. And to the victim's family, I can't make sense of the senseless or attempt to describe the indescribable for what you guys have been through. I pray that you guys have some faith and comfort to, number one, bring this to conclusion, knowing that she's in a better place. I don't have enough words to say to you guys to describe my emotion for you. For Mr. Hall, father of 4 children, yet here we are. Your sister testified about changing the world. When she figures it out, she can let us all know, but it happens one step at a time. So, man, if you want to change the world, one step at a time. What's sad about cases like this is that you have immense loss on the victim's side of the family, and it is immense loss. You also have a loss on the defendant's side, and it is immense in another way, because you have 4 children of Mr. Hall's who are not going to have a father, and yet the cycle continues. And that is extremely sad. No one intended to go to the Highlands Food Market that day for a 5-year-old to pass away, yet a 5-year-old did pass away. Mr. Hall, you can stand with your attorney. To counsel, given his PRR and HFO status, the sentence, I'm going to announce the sentence and I'll look at you guys and make sure I'm pronouncing a legal sentence for him given the complexity of it because of his HFO and PRR status.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure what I'm doing is legally correct. I'm just looking for you guys to correct me. Or if something I'm doing is incorrect. Mr. Hall, you were found guilty as charged of all 5 counts of the indictment. Murder of the 1st degree, count 1. Count 2 is attempted murder of the 2nd degree. Count 3, attempted murder of the 2nd degree. Count 4, attempted murder of the 2nd degree. And count 5, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. You are adjudged guilty of all 5 counts of the indictment, given the jury verdict in this case. As to count 1, as required by Florida law, you are sentenced to the remainder of your life in prison. You have credit for 9 680 days time served. That's also with, under Florida's 1020 life law in Chapter 775, the minimum mandatory life in prison as well. Counts 2, 3, 4, and 5 are run consecutive to count 1, but concurrent with each other. As to count 2, attempted murder of the second degree, since sentenced as an habitual felony offender, you are sentenced to 40 years Florida State Prison, with a 30-year minimum mandatory as a prison release reoffender, and 25 years minimum mandatory under Chapter 775, Florida's 1020 life law. That is consistent with counts 2, 3, and 4. Count 5, sentenced as an habitual felony offender to 30 years with a 3-year minimum mandatory under Florida's 1020 life law, Chapter 775. You have 518 days credit and a $150 return fee. Any questions, Dave?
Your Honor, so I understand in regards to counts 2 through 4, would be a prison release reoffender of 30 years with the 40 years in compliance with the HFO. Is that my understanding, Your Honor?
He can be sentenced up to life in prison on counts 2, 3, and 4, correct?
So, Your Honor, they are F1, so that habitual felony offender, yes, would make it up to life.
Okay.
So yes, you could sentence him as 40 years pursuant to habitual felony offender with a 30-year day-for-day PRR. And then I would just ask, what would the sentence be then in regards to the 1020 life?
25-year minimum mandatory as I announced.
And I thought I didn't hear, and I apologize.
No, you're
Thank you,
fine.
Judge. And then in reference to count 5, I did not hear the sentence.
30 years as an habitual felony offender with a 3-year minimum mandatory.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Eller, anything you need to clarify?
No, Your Honor, that's not true.
As it counts 2 through 5, as it's consecutive to count 1, he's not entitled to any credit in this case, in this counts.
Yes, sir, but they're concurrent with each other.
Counts 2 through 5 are concurrent with each other, but consecutive to count 1.
Yes, sir.
Hence why he's not entitled to any credit on counts 2 through 5. Mr. Hall, you do have 30. First off, say anything else I need to clarify on the record in this sentence.
Your Honor, I would just ask for reserve restitution, Your Honor. It would be joint and several with the other co-defendants.
I'll reserve jurisdiction for restitution purposes.
And that's all, Your Honor.
Mr. Eller, anything else I need to add on the record?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Hall, you do have 30 days to appeal the legality of today's sentence. Something you wish you best of luck, sir.
Judge, he requested the Office of Public Defender representative not be able to consider appointing an officer.
Yeah, as court appointed, you were court appointed counsel, so certainly also an order appointing the public defender's office for purposes of appeal.
Thank you.
We'll next bring out Mr. Covington. Sworn on the record of State v. Adrian Covington, 20 CF 3480. I do counsel the State Defense. Mr. Covington, present. I certainly don't have anything more to add to the video standing what I said earlier. Mr. Covington was not present when I made my comments earlier. My heart goes out to you guys. I know I made a comment about Mr. Bird's testimony earlier. That's not to lessen the impact of Ms. West or Mr. West's testimony, but for some reason, Mr. Bird, the way you wear your emotions on your sleeve, the way you testified at trial, watching that video, for some reason it just hit different. And I don't know why. Maybe it's the level of father and the level of grandfather. It just hit different. What's equally sad for Mr. Covington is that he has 2 daughters, is what I heard today. 2 daughters who aren't going to know their father. that is equally as sad about this case. You have many cases, and the attorneys in this courtroom know this better than anyone. You have cases that come before this courthouse where you have no one back there testifying on their behalf. Nobody comes to court for any pre-trial conferences. No family or friends come to the trial, and no one testifies at the sentencing hearing. And that is sad in many other respects. What's also equally as sad is when they do have the family show up, yet they are still before the court on serious charges. Mr. Covington, you can stand with your attorney, sir. Mr. Covington, you pled guilty to the court on a lesser included count of second-degree murder as to count 1 of the indictment, and then as charged in counts 2, 3, and 4 of the indictment. You are adjudged guilty as to all 4 counts. Counts 2 through 4 are second-degree felonies. $15 years Florida State Prison with 981 days credit. As to count 1, the second-degree murder charge for Ms. Addison, sentenced to 28 years Florida State Prison with 981 days credit. All counts are run concurrent with one another. You have $518 in court costs and $150 attorney lien. I will reserve jurisdiction for restitution purposes. State anything else I need to add or clarify on the record?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Lufrano, anything else you need to add or clarify?
No, Your Honor.
You can answer your client's question.
Certainly.
Just to clarify, the sentence on count 1 was 28 years.
Correct.
State prison with 981 days of credit.
Yes, Your
Anything else you need to clarify on the record, Mr. Lufrano?
Honor. No, Your Honor.
Mr. Covington, you have 30 days to appeal the legality of the sentence. Sir.
Thank you. I believe that concludes my business. May I use you?
Yes, sir. I certainly appreciate your patience and your work in this case.
No. Thank you, Your Honor.
We'll next bring on Mr. Everett. Mr. Everett, good morning. Good afternoon to you, sir. We're here on the record of Mr. Everett's case. 20 CF 3373. Mr. Everett pled guilty to the court as to all 5 counts of the information. Murder of the second degree with a weapon, count 1. Counts 2 through 4, attempted murder of the second degree with a weapon. And count 5, possession of a weapon by a convicted felon. Mr. Everett, your case is, I struggle with your case. Not like your attorney, not like all the other attorneys in this case. Your attorney gave a great presentation on your behalf. I struggle with your case because I watched that video during the trial, and you are firing a firearm indiscriminately at Mr. Tutson with an apartment complex in the background. And during the trial, during Mr. Hall's trial, it came out that said when there were bullets found that struck the apartment that was behind Mr. Tutson. An imminently dangerous act, yet your actions since your arrest sort of defy your actions on April 6th. And your record, being your age, your record doesn't, we've all seen worse. Anyone in this courtroom will say they've seen worse. I struggle with that. On the day of the incident, you were the elder statesman. There's no testimony about that today. You knew Mr. Tutson had a firearm based off your conversation that day. You're the one that pulled Ms. Hall away. When you guys go back, you all have firearms. So you went to confront an individual, and you brought a firearm to that confrontation. Anyone knows you bring a firearm for confrontation, you're prepared to use that firearm, otherwise why would you bring it? Yet again, your actions since that date defy that. You cooperated with the state attorney's office, and I commend you on that. You testified at trial. I sat through the trial, heard your testimony. And I commend what Mr. Chipperfield said about you since then, about wanting to do it from day one. You know how many people cooperate from the very beginning. They're trying to save their own skin. Mr. Chipperfield knows that. Yet here you are, not worried about your own skin, but know that some 5-year-old passed away, and you are part of that. However, your cooperation cannot absolve you of your actions on that day. But I do commend you nonetheless for doing the right thing from the beginning. And I trust that the victim's family appreciates that in some small way that you were helpful with tying together loose ends in the prosecution of this case to help give them justice in some capacity. You pled guilty to all 5 counts of the charge of information. You're judged guilty as to all 5 counts. Count 5 is a second-degree felony. You're sentenced to 15 years Florida State Prison. You have credit for 983 days time served. As in counts 1 through 3, you're sentenced to 22 years Florida State Prison with 983 days credit. All counts in the same information are run concurrent as a matter of Florida law. You have 518 in court costs of 150 PD fee, and I will reserve jurisdiction for restitution purposes. Ms. French, anything else you need to clarify or add on the record?
Your Honor, I believe that you did not state counts 1 through 4. Is that what you were indicating, Your Honor?
Yes, counts 1 through 4 was a 22-year sentence.
Yes, sir. I thought that it said 1 through 3, so I was just asking.
If I did say that, I misspoke. 1 through 4 is 22 years. Count 5, the second-degree felony is 15 years.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything I need to clarify or add on the record, Mr. Chipperfield?
No,
Mr. Everett, I certainly do wish you best of luck, sir. I hope you're able to find some peace knowing that you were helping bring some justice to Ms. Addison's family in some small way. You do have 30 days to appeal the legality of the sentence. I certainly wish you best of luck.
thank you.
Ms. Hall, so we're here in the case of State v. Crystal Hall. 21 CF 3084. Ms. Hall was charged via indictment of the state before with a 4-count indictment, She pled guilty to a lesser included charge of second-degree murder as to count 1 and pled as charged in the indictment in counts 2, 3, 4, attempted murder with a second degree. I'm not going to repeat what I said earlier regarding the victim's family. Just Ms. Hall, specific to you, is that it always hurts me to hear that people who I'm sentencing that come to the court have children. Just because there's as much as the West and the Addison family is suffering from a loss, so will your family. And that is, anybody who's a parent knows how much that must hurt. Because if your family, your children are going to grow up different than what you probably envisioned prior to April 6th of 2020. Some people say it's only $180. The other side of the coin is that people say that $180 can go a long way. It certainly can. I'm not going to sit here and say that to some people, $180 cannot be the difference between a JEA bill being paid and not being paid. And when COVID, at that point in April, we may have been in the first 15 days, it's the slowest spread. Things were different than they are now. They were certainly different than they were prior to mid-March of 2020. Regardless of your feelings about $180, it certainly did not warrant the death of a 5-year-old. That's what happened. Ms. Hall, you are judged guilty as all 4 counts that you pled to. As in counts 2, 3, and 4, you pled to second-degree felonies. You're sentenced to 15 years Florida State prison on those counts. You have 625 days credit. As to count 1, you pled to a lesser charge of murder than second degree. You're sentenced to 18 years Florida State prison, 625 days credit. All 4 counts are concurrent with one another. I will reserve jurisdiction for restitution purposes. You have $518 in court costs, a $150 attorney lien. State anything you need to add or clarify on the record?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Bedell? Ms. Hall, you do have 30 days to appeal the legality of this day's sentence. I certainly wish you and your family the best of luck. We're hearing the case of State DTR Buford, 20 CF 3489. Ms. Buford was before the court on 4-count information charged by the State Attorney's Office. She pled guilty to all 4 counts of the charged information. First of all, I will file Ms. Buford's PSI under seal. I failed to say so earlier, but for Ms. Hall's, I will also file under seal as well during today's proceedings. Ms. Hall, Ms. Buford, you weren't here earlier before I announced sentence for Mr. Hall. I'll restate it because I think it obviously it's different for you. I presided over this case since the very beginning. I've seen you in court every single time. Having to give birth while you're incarcerated is sad. It's unfortunate. However, your actions led that to occur. I presided over Mr. Hall's trial. I've seen that video more times than I care to admit that I've seen them. Your attorney's speech earlier hit different for some reason. Not to say the other attorneys didn't hit, but Ms. Addison just had she commented on Mr. Burr's testimony, and I made a comment earlier how much it impacted me too. question, no one went to the Highlands Food Mart that day intending to kill a 5-year-old. Yet a 5-year-old is still dead, regardless of that lack of intention. And I watched that video. You walked up behind Mr. Hall. Fight ensued. You joined said fight. You and Ms. Barnum continued to fight. Shots were fired. You were on the ground. And you left. You mentioned in your speech how a minute and 30 seconds can change your life. And that's true. I'll even narrow that down for you. 1 second, one decision, in a snap of a moment can change everything you know about your life. It certainly changed it for Miss Addison and her family. Having to be there when they saw their child, their daughter and granddaughter lying on the side of the road. That snap second changed their life. Just as much as it changed yours, because you decided to participate in a fight that wasn't worthy of someone losing their life over. You're the mother of 2 children now?
Yes, sir.
2 children. I made this comment earlier, 4 out of the 5 of you have children. And yet, those children are going to grow up without you around. I made the same comment earlier, just as much as the Addison family is suffering a loss, your family is also going to suffer a loss. Your mom spoke eloquently about you. She's caring for your children. When she should be retiring, enjoying her life, here she is, taking care of your children because of a decision that you made with your friends. You are judged guilty of all 4 counts of the charge of information. You're sentenced to 10 years Florida State Prison, 980 days credit. That's counts 1 through 4 of the information. I will reserve jurisdiction for restitution purposes. 518 in court costs, 150 attorney lien. State, anything else I need to add or clarify on the record?
Just reserve restitution, joint and several.
Yes, I announced. I think I announced it, but if I didn't, I'll reserve jurisdiction for restitution purposes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else I need to add or clarify, Ms. Adams?
Nothing for the record, Your Honor, but I do have one thing also we can, that I'd like to ask off the record. Okay,
Okay.
I can go on. It would involve having Tierra here. We anticipated that there was going to be a lengthy prison sentence, so I was helping her fill out some paperwork for the youngest child that she gave birth to at Shannon's. They processed paperwork, but I guess because she was in custody, Social Security and birth certificate were never generated. The child has now turned 2, and the mother cannot even enroll the child in like daycare or anything because she doesn't have any documentation. So what I'm asking, and I briefly spoke to the clerk, was if I could get someone, if the clerk is able to notarize this document, I can probably get those items for Mom so that at least she can. Okay, well, I didn't get to finish talking to her, so it sounds like she can. Court reporter is a notary, so if I can have Tierra for just a second sign these documents and put it to the court reporter, she'll notarize them so that I can help her mom get the birth certificate and Social Security card.
But help her mother get
To
it.
help Tierra's mother get the paperwork that she needs to continue caring for the kids while Tierra's gone.
But those documents have not been generated, you're saying?
The applications were generated. Tierra knows that she filled them out at the hospital, so there should be a generated birth certificate and a generated Social Security card, but her mother cannot obtain them without the authorized signature or release them to her mother.
As long as Jason Security can accommodate that request, it's fine with me.
Thank you.
Anything else you need to add to clarify what record stands?
Nothing is on the record. Thank you very much.
Ms. Reed, you certainly have 30 days to appeal the legality of the sentence. I certainly wish you the best of luck. hallway have some sort of closure. And then you guys can move forward. And also to all the Venice families, I appreciate you guys being here today. I certainly appreciate the attorneys. I know it's been a long afternoon preparing for today's proceedings. I certainly appreciate you guys, appreciate JSO and their security efforts here for today's purposes. And so if there's something else I need to add on the record here today, which I don't believe there is, I'll first go to the state. Anything else I need to handle today?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Nothing, thank you, Your Honor.
With defense counsels and other heads, there's nothing else. So with that said, we'll be in recess.